Okay, I'm going to start talking today about the extra 6 bits of kit I'm going to carry with me on all of my tours in future. I do carry spares anyway, nothing major. Spare bulbs, spare fuses, spare bolts and split pins. I don't carry spare parts as such. But none of these things I've ever needed to use. They take up space. It's one of those things that eventually I'll need them and I'll be glad that I've got them. But in 14 years, I don't think I've ever used any of them. However, there are things that have happened in the past where I didn't have the necessary equipment to be able to do what I needed to do. And in principle, it would have been quite an easy fix at the side of the road. When I'm touring in Europe, I'm on my own. I can be up in the hills, miles from anywhere, and something could happen, and I won't be able to fix it. If that's the case, the only way out is to phone recovery, hopefully I'll have a phone signal, and then wait however many hours it takes to get someone out to me, however many hours it takes to get to a bike shop, and however many hours it takes to get it fixed. I'd like to try and avoid that if I can, by carrying these 6 extra things. So I'm going to start with punctures. I have had 2 of them on my ZZR, and I didn't have the equipment with me to be able to fix them. Neither of them caused me not to be able to ride the bike. They were slow punctures, but enough to know I was losing air. And I'd like, if I could, to be able to do something about those things. So I found out that finding a puncture is not that hard. If you use a fluid, I watched a YouTube video that sort of said glass cleaning fluid will do it. So I bought the cheapest from Asda as it happens, and went and looked at a puncture that I thought I had on my ZZR. Found it no trouble at all. But I don't carry these things as a matter of routine, so what I've done is I bought 5 100ml bottles, spray bottles. I filled one of them with water, got my bike up on its centre stand, and then basically sprayed water over the entire circumference of that rear tyre. It only took 50 millilitres, half a bottle. So, overkill. I filled 2 bottles with the window cleaning fluid. Those are the 2 bottles in blue. And I filled another bottle with washing up liquid. I know some people use washing up liquid, and it's a perfectly good way of finding a puncture. I also always have, wherever I am, I always have water somewhere on the bike. So I can easily make up a mix if I run out of the other 2. I also think I would be incredibly unlucky if I did run out of the other 2, but you never know, do you? Once I've found the puncture, the next thing is to fix it. Now, I know there are broadly 3 different kinds of puncture repair that I could do. One of them is to use a screw plug. Another is to use a strip plug, and the other is to use a mushroom plug. First, I just want to be clear. There are guidelines for repairing punctures. One of them is that the puncture repairs using the tools I've just described should only really be done on tyres with a speed rating up to 149 mile an hour. And the tyres on my bike are speed rated to 167. So in principle, I should never even attempt a tyre puncture repair on my bike at all. Now, people have told me that they've made repairs to their tyres using these kits or these plugs, and it's been fine for the whole of the tour that they were on. So I'm going to use that to sort of give me a little bit of encouragement. If I get a puncture I am going to repair it. And then I'm going to ride quite carefully to the nearest bike shop I can find to get a new tyre. In terms of what I'm going to carry, don't really like the screw plug. Somebody showed it me on YouTube how it could be done. Don't think I'd be happy to take a risk with that. The strip plug uses glue. I won't say a lot of glue, but it uses glue. And I'm a bit cack-handed, so I'm going to end up covered in glue, and I'll no doubt end up sticking my fingers together. I don't really fancy the mess that much. But the mushroom plugs are cleaner. Just a bit oily, that's all. So I've gone for those, and I bought this kit. It has everything in it that I need to be able to fix a puncture, but it doesn't include a pressure gauge, a pair of pliers, a flat blade screwdriver, or a tyre pressure gauge. As it happens, I've got all of those things already anyway, so I can just add them to the box before I go away anywhere. This particular kit, I did give it a try. Just like opening it up and following the instructions that were in the pack basically, and it didn't work. The instructions said squeeze the trigger until it stiffens up, which I did, and when it stiffened up I stopped, and it hadn't worked. However, I watched a video, I watched a few of them about how to make this particular system work. None of them were particularly helpful apart from one. They showed it being done, but they showed it from inside the tyre as well as outside, and I noticed the guy gave an extra squeeze on the trigger and the mushroom appeared inside the tyre. So I sat in my living room and I tried it. Pulled the trigger over and over until it stiffened up, and then I had a look at the nozzle, and about a millimetre away from appearing was the plug. It just needed an extra push of about a millimetre and it was going to come out. So I got hold of the trigger and I really squoze it, and yet it moved, and the mushroom came out. So I'm now happy that I know how to use the mushroom system. Once I've fixed the puncture, I've got to reinflate the tyre. And I have options for this. The first option is a bicycle pump. And this one is quite small. It's quite light. If you open it up, it's got the flexible hose to the connection. But it is very effective. I've also got one of those, remember the old school push bike pumps that we used to have as teenagers, like in the 70s? I got one of those as well. And I tried it on a wheel off a scooter that needed to be pressured up to 35 psi. And it was almost impossible with that bicycle pump to get above 20 psi. When I used this bicycle pump, it went up to 35 psi with no trouble at all. No effort really. It's light, it's small, and I can use it repeatedly. The biggest issue I'll have with it is the tyre on the scooter wasn't particularly big. It would take me a very long time using that pump to get the tyre inflated to 35 psi. I might wear myself out doing it. So I could use these gas cylinders. I have already got 3 of my own, and it's got a white plastic tube, this concertina. I've always looked at it and thought, I'm not really sure I want to do that, or even know how to do that, or even how it would work. But I watched a video again on YouTube. You're getting a picture of how much I watch YouTube and what it is I go looking for. Anything I've got a problem with, I go and have a look on YouTube to see if anybody's sort of dealt with it and can tell me how to fix it. But on this particular occasion, a chap used a gas cylinder with a metal attachment. One part of the metal attachment went over the tyre valve. Another part is where you screwed in the gas cylinder, and then you had a lever to open up the valve and let the gas into the tyre. And it also had a rubber cover over the cylinder so that when you emptied it, you didn't get your fingers frozen to the cylinder. And I thought, right, I know how that works. I'm confident I'll be able to do that. So I bought this pack, 6 cylinders, and the attachment and the cover over the cylinder. Now, these can only be used once. Once you've done it, you've got to throw them away, replace them with another one. And they're only intended to get you to a service area where you can replace the gas with air from an air pump. If I really want something that's quick and that doesn't require me to find a service area so quickly, I can use an electric pump running off the bike's battery. Now, I looked on Amazon and I looked at different ones, and I read a few of the reviews, and I settled on this one. It's big. I'm not sure whether it would do the job or not. The reviews were good, so I'm expecting that it would. But until I use it, I don't really know. But it can be used repeatedly. I don't need to do anything apart from stand by the side of the bike and wait for it to reach the 35, 38 psi I'm looking for. And I can just ride the bike away, not having to make a beeline for the nearest service area with an airline. I've got air. It does need a cigarette lighter, and my bike doesn't have a cigarette lighter. But I do use a low pressure jet washer, and it runs off a small 12 volt battery that you would normally put on something like a small scooter or something like that, maybe a moped, I don't know. But it is small. Not high capacity, certainly nothing like the one in the bike I've got now. And I use that off a cigarette lighter that I clip to the battery, and this is the clip that I use. So I'll be taking that with me as well as part of the air compressor. If I have a problem with the battery, and it's happened to me twice, both of them with the ZZR, 5 years apart, I'll want to jump start it. I did very early on, the first time the battery failed on the ZZR, have a device that said it could jump start a motorbike. It said it could jump start a fairly decent sized car, as it happens. I tried it. Not a peep. Did absolutely nothing. Proper 100% letdown. This time I went on to Motorcycle News and read their reviews of various jump starters, and they recommended this one. It just so happens that the motor mechanic at the bike shop I go to regularly had also pointed out that it was a good one, so I bought it. It's not cheap. At the moment on Amazon, and you can see it's for £110. I didn't pay that much. I think I paid £80 for it. I'll check and I'll put the price up. But I have a problem with the jump starter and the electric compressor. I don't know the day when I'm going to need them, and I don't know if on the day they will fail and let me down. However, I had a bit of good fortune. You might not call it good fortune, I do. As I drove onto a campsite, the car's tyre pressure monitoring system told me that 2 of my tyres had low pressure. 22 psi, one of them. They're meant to be about 38 psi. I don't know why it didn't tell me anything in between. I don't know why it waited until it was as low as 22 psi. But that meant I had to do something about it, and I dug out the air compressor, plugged it into a cigarette lighter socket, connected up to the tyre, set the pressure, press go. Wow, what can I say? It's not exactly quiet, but it is a lot smoother than the last air compressor that I had. It just sits there, it doesn't bounce around or anything like that, it just works noisily. It raised the car tyre pressure by 1 psi every minute. So if I've got to repressure my motorbike tyre up to say 38-40 psi, it's going to take 38-40 minutes. It's a long time. Might flatten my battery. So although I'm happy that the air compressor will work, the next thing is I'm worrying about what's going to happen when I flatten that battery. Well, the other bit of good fortune that I had, so I was about to leave the campsite, everything packed up, jumps into the driver's seat, presses the button to start the engine, it went tick, 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 tick. We all know what that is, don't we? Flat battery, no question. For about half a minute or so, I sat there thinking, Jesus Christ, I'm going to have to go and find someone with a jump starter. I was at the top of a hill. I momentarily considered letting the brake off and rolling down the hill and taking my foot off the clutch. Would have been a bad idea, that, wouldn't it? Then I remembered I had my jump starter. So I went and got it, made sure it was switched off, clicked it to the battery, switched it on, jumped in the car, pressed the starter button, bump. The car started up immediately, like as if it had a fully charged battery. No hesitation, nothing. So I went round, switched it off, disconnected it, put it away, drove home. No trouble at all. So now I know I can count on that, and I know I can count on the air compressor. I feel a lot more comfortable about dealing with a puncture or a flat battery by myself while I'm away in future.